Welcome everyone to round 5 in DTR, season 5. We're in Imola today and we've got a sprint race, and I'm going to make the first prediction that TGL Stewart is going to be the first out the pits. Oh, I think he's been pipped. He has been pipped. I think it's Bassett. It is Bassett. So yeah, we're in Imola. It's a sprint race. And Bassett's already crossed the right line on the exit. So I'll get Bassett to take us round on a lap when he starts his hot lap, and as usual, we'll then join the rest of the field and see how they're getting on. We'll catch up with the grid order. Just a little bit to say about the sprint racing. There is a qualifying session. It's a short qualifying session, 17 minutes or 18 minutes. And that determines where you start in the sprint race. The sprint race is then third race distance, which I think for Imola is around about 11 laps. And you get points. I think the top 8 get points, and it's from 8 points all the way down to 1. I could be wrong about that, but and then where you finish in the sprint race is where you start in the actual race, and that's where you get a normal points haul at the end of it. If you DNF in the sprint race, you do come back for the actual race. Really, you want to try and hold on to positions to get your position in the race. So here comes Bassett. He's coming up to the line as we've got a long pit straight, and you can see people filtering out the pits there. As you come into turn 1, straight into turn 2, and then immediately into turn 3, and a little bit of a straight before another chicane, fast left which turns into a fast right, and then you've got a long left-hander which then goes uphill, so be careful on exit. That's why you can hear Bassett shifting up. Come up the hill, and then you've got a fast left-hander. Carry as much speed, careful of the sausage curb on the exit, and then down into this tricky little section. It's a right-hander followed by a right sort of chicane. You can so easily lose the back end there. We will see an accident there today, I promise you. And then it's get nice and wide left for this next chicane. Hit the first curb, miss the second. Be careful on the exit, there's a sausage curb, and then it's flat out down to these last couple of corners. Bassett's been pretty neat so far, and it looks reasonably quick. So we'll see what time is going to be set. It's a 16.1 that will get beaten, I believe. Stuart's gone straight back in the pit, interesting. Alex is coming around to complete his lap. Is he going to get to the 15s? He's not, he's a 16.6. Maggot's on a lap. He is one of the title contenders. He's just on his way up the hill out of sector 1. Nice and neat through there. Doesn't take too much curb in there. Keeps enough speed. Got to be careful on that sausage curb that you can see him ride in there. As long as you don't hook your wheels all the way over it, as Rishi puts in a 16.7, as long as you don't hook your wheels all the way over it, you're fine. The minute you hook all your wheels over, the car bottoms out, and then you're in trouble. And there's a yellow flag down at the end of sector 1. I think that might be Kalitsos. It could be Alex on his way back, not sure. But Maggot rides around, the final couple of bends. He comes down the pit straight to set his first lap, which is a 16.6. He'll want to improve on that. Athanasios has just gone in with a 16.5. So Bassett looking like the man to beat on 16.1. He's 4 tenths ahead of the field so far. Reliot, who's been making some good progress in this season, he comes into the pit, so must have made a mistake. And we'll jump on board with Robsu, who's Stuart's teammate. He's just rounding sector 2. And we'll jump on board for this little section. So you've got to stay nice and tight, don't let the car run out wide. That was the sausage curb I was talking about. And he goes purple middle sector, so this is a great start from Robsu, and that's what I'm saying. You ride the first curb and Robsu just gets a bit deep into that corner and really has to almost stop to make sure he didn't go over track limit, so that's going to have cost him a fair bit. But neat otherwise. And now he comes round onto the pit straight, we'll round the sort of last corner and put in a 17.3. So Charlie's invalid, so we'll stay with him. Guna's put in a faster second sector. That was quite neat through there, but has run wide. It hasn't invalidated him, so you just have to be careful you don't run too wide there. I think if you get over that sausage curve, that's when it starts to invalidate you. Track limit's a little bit more generous here than maybe some other tracks. Again, chuck as much speed into this final couple of corners, and it's just a drag race now down to the line. And what will Guna open up with? It will be a 16.8. That'll put him in 7th. And Stewart is now out. Is he on an out lap? No, he's not. He's on a... Ooh. Think he got a bit of a wiggle from the back end of the car there. Let's see if he's turned his ERS off. He might go again. Oh, he's put a faster first sector in, so even with that mistake. And Kazingle's put in a 16.6. He's up into 3rd. Didn't see that come up, so not sure how long ago he did that. He'll be happy with that. But again, I think we'll see a lot of improvement from some of these drivers. You can see Stewart takes quite a lot of curb on the inside there, which runs him out wide. He doesn't lose it. He puts in a purple second sector, takes a lot of the first curb, which opens up the second curb for him. And now he's on that run down to the final couple of corners. Downhill, got to be careful with your braking. All the weight will shift into the front of the car, and it can only take so much. And Stewart will come over the line. It's a 17.1, and it's saying it's a purple last sector as well. And well, he's not pole, so the game is lying. And Felix has gone purple first sector. Do we believe it? I don't know. I'm going to say no. But let's have a little watch of Felix, who's supporting, coordinating the division this year. So thank you for all your support, Felix. He's coming into the second sector. He will want to improve on his recent results. Again, takes a lot of the first curb. Takes quite a lot of the second curb in comparison to some of the other drivers. Takes quite a lot of speed out of that penultimate corner. But he's rounded on his run down to the finish line, and it'll be a 16.9, puts him in 8th. Has Reliot been able to start putting in a time now? He's just coming through sector 2. He's in the Williams today, he's reserving. Let's see what time he can put up. Carries nice speed through there. Just coming up to this tricky chicane. Let's see how he takes it. You want to take a lot of this inside curve and not so much of the second one, but he takes it neatly. He didn't take a lot of the first curve, but it was neat. But if you want to get faster through there, you take more of the first curve. And that looks neat. He's flung the car through there. So what's the first time that Reliot's going to put? It's a 16.9. That's good. Let's put him 8th. And I believe Rika has just joined the lobby, so he will be about to participate in qualifying. Kazingle's on an out lap. Bassett is invalidated. I fancy let's jump on with him because we've not seen him, and he's put a time good enough for second, and he's just over a 10th up on this lap. So just coming again. Oh, and there you go. That's what happens. I think you just clipped the end of that sausage curb, and that's what can happen. That's a perfect example of what I was talking about. Alex rounds the last curve. He looks like he's 3/10 up. What will that get him? That'll get him second. And Athanasiu's been disqualified, and that does put Alex into second. And it wasn't too far off that potential pole time, but Athanasiu C was now dropped out. He's been disqualified. think that was for him trying to correct himself and get himself back on the track. But we're going to jump on with Kazingle, who's on his way round the last couple of corners. What's he going to put in? I think he might just be starting a flying lap now, so it's good timing. Let's stick with him and see what happens. As Lauda now puts it into a 16.5, puts him in third. As Kazingle comes around the first group of corners, that looked nice and tidy. Didn't hit the yellow sausage curbs, they do unsettle the car. Just probably a bit too much turning on that first part of that chicane. But nice and neat through this hairpin. You've got to try and carry as much speed as you can through there, so you don't have to hammer the throttle on the way up the hill, because again you'll just lose the back end of the car. Again, it's been neat. Clips inside curb, and that's the sausage curb I'm talking about. Rides it nicely. It's an Alpine getting out of the way. How much of this first curb is he going to take? Right, you can definitely take a little bit more of that. Nice and clean on the second. And away he goes down the hill. Good turning, uses enough of the track there and runs it nice and wide out onto the next corner. And what is this going to set him? Has he improved on his time? It's a 16.1. That puts him in second. That's a good lap. Bassett is just about protecting that lead, as we can see Robsu, as Rishi now gets into the 15s. It's 15.9, so he takes provisional pole. That's a great lap. I still think there's a couple of people in here that can go a little bit faster than that. As we're going to jump on with Robsu. We saw him a little bit earlier. Looks like he is improving on his time, I think, as he's got his ERS light on. So we're going to jump away from him. I think he... Stuart had big hopes for this quali, and it's just really struggling. Is that round on that? It is after the second bend. That's where we saw him have a little bit of a wobble earlier today as well. Who else have we got that I can jump on board with? Who's on a lap? Don't think he is. Gooner on one. He could be. We're trying to have a look at the back of his car. Nope, he is charging his ERS. We know Kazingle's just done his lap, so he won't be going again. Felix has just started one, so he's just ending sector 2. It looks like he just gets a bit wide out of second chicane on the lap, and he's on his way up the hill. I think he just missed the apex there, got away with track limits there. And he's now got an Alpha that's done well to get out of the way. And he throws the car, and that's where you have to be careful. You can see it's just unsettled the back of the car. That's where you've got to be careful. Rika's on an outlap, so we'll try and catch him. Maggot might be on a flying lap. I think he's just started. Let's jump on with him. Nice and aggressive through that first part of the chicane. That was nice and neat. And you can just see how smooth he is with the inputs there. That was kept the car balanced nicely through there. And I'm gonna take a punt and say that this will challenge that pole time if he can keep this together. Just misses a little bit of curb there. Would have liked to have clipped a bit more, but he's neat and tidy up the hill. Got to get this section right. There's so much in this. Takes the first curb, takes a little bit of the second, but it's fine. He gets a good exit. Just into this final downhill section. He looks like he's got it right so far. Carry speed, get your foot down. Here comes the line. What's he going to do? Is it in the 15s? It's close. Oh, it's a 15.97. So he's 700ths away from Rishi. Puts it second. So Maggot's got the pace. That was neat. That was a good lap. As Raylick comes around now. I think he's about to finish this lap. Let's see where or is he going to start under the lap now? No, it is a 1:16.9. Doesn't improve, I don't think, and if he did it was marginal. Little Mikey's out on a lap. The two Mercedes have not put in a lap yet. So Mikey in the first sector. Just needs to grab a couple of those curbs really, and there's definitely something wrong with the graphics here. It's saying that every single person I'm on board with gets a purple sector, and there's just not that many people improving, so the game's being a bit funny. Gets away without the invalidating there. It's just missed a few apexes on this lap, so I don't think it's going to be up there, but it will do to get him started. I wonder if he can get round and do another one. So 16.9 puts him in 12th. Charlie is on an outlap. He's just about to come around and start one, so let's stand with him as the only driver now that hasn't put a lap in. Rika put in a 17.6 after joining the lobby late. Stuart's on an outlap, so once Charlie is finished, we'll jump on with Stuart and see if he can get past the problems of the first couple of corners. As Charlie now enters the first two corners. This is where Stuart's been having the problem today. Charlie navigates it well, takes a bit of curb, he can take a little bit more of that curb, but it's fine, and carries enough speed. Now running uphill, and he's going to meet the left-hander, and again can just take a little bit more curb there. He's a little bit cautious, but he will be, because he just wants to get this lap in, and the further up the grid he'll get for the sprint, the better for him. Really neat up the chicane, up the hill. There's a horrible part, and there's a Aston staying out of the way, and that was tidy as well. Take the first curb, miss the second curb, and get your braking right down this hill. Straighten the car up and get it home. What's it going to be for Charlie? I think it's going to be in the 16s. 16.8 puts him 11th. Okay, so everyone has now set a time. I said we'd go to Stuart. Where are you, Stuart? Here he is. So he has navigated that first section. And he certainly has been practicing, and he can, and Rishi improves to a 15.7 and just extends his advantage on that pole position. And for anyone that started the lap now, this will be it. No one else can put in a lap other than those that have crossed the line already. It is officially the end of qualifying, as that's neat from Stuart, and he's definitely quick enough to get a pole. And that was taken brilliantly. That's exactly what I mean. You take enough of the first curb, none of the second. And Stuart, if he can just hook up these last couple of corners, I think he will challenge this pole time. So what's he got? Get your foot down. Get to the line. It's going to be in the 16s. It's a 16.6, so it's 10th. Not the day he was hoping for. Guna's coming around the last corner. We've got a couple of people coming around the last corner. Kazinga's in the pit, so he won't get another one. Bassett won't get another one. He's in the pit. Guna's going to be your last man to cross the line, and not sure if he improved or whether he was in 6th already. But that is your grid to start the sprint race. It's not Rishi with a 15.7 already won a race here this season in this league. Maggott in second, who's the championship leader, I believe, and 15.9. Bassett in 3rd with a 16 flat. Alex Kay been really, really good in qualifying. Struggled a little bit in the race, so we'll see if he can hold on to this position this time. He's been desperately unlucky not to pick up more points than he has this year, but he's just got to carry the consistency all the way to the end. Kazinga's looked like a title contender. He's in 5th. Guna, our reserve, in 6th. Evan in 7th, and I believe had a good result in Australia last time out. I'm pretty sure he was 5th from memory. Relia in 8th, made huge improvements this year. Robsu in 9th, who seems to be settling down into the game now. Nicky Lauda in 10th. I think he'll be disappointed. I think he's quite quick. Stuart will definitely be disappointed in 11th. Charlie's in 12th. Man Like Donkey 13th. Little Mikey is in 14th. And just to try and finish off the rest of the grid, Felix in 15th, Wardy 16th, Kalitsos 17th, Rico 18th, and Athanasiu, you see, who got disqualified, was right up there with those leaders before he got disqualified after a spin. So we'll move around into the sprint race. You're likely to see everyone on medium tyres. I'd be surprised if we saw some soft tyres. But you could be people gambling on safety cars. You never know. And I can't remember if there's I think there is a formation lap, but that looks a bit gloomy out there. No rain, no. See if anyone's given me a weather report. So I think there is some expected rain. So there is some expected rain. I'm not sure when it's coming. I think it's in the race, the main race. Right, let's have a look at what tyre choices everyone's gone for before we start the race, and it's a full grid of mediums. No one took the punt on the softs. I don't think the softs will get to the end. So it's the right choice. Drivers are on their way round final couple of corners of their formation lap to try and warm their tyres up, ready for an 11 lap shootout. And I might get corrected after race, but I believe it's for 8 points. And if I find a gap in the race, I'll talk through the standings. But for now, we'll concentrate on the sprint race. We've got Rishi on pole, Maggot in second, Bassett third, Alex fourth, Kazingle disqualified for missing his parking spot in fifth, Guna sixth, Evan seventh, Relia eighth, Robsu ninth, Nicky Lauda in 10th. There are some quick drivers at the back of the field, and there are very quick drivers at the front of the field. So this will get interesting. I've got a rubbish view. I'm going to join Rishi's car and we're going to look back. And Rishi looks like he's got a bit bogged down. Bassett is all over the back of him already. Let's see if we can get a better angle. We can't. Bassett is alongside him. 3 wide. We've got the Ferrari of Maggot, Bassett and Rishi. Rishi's got the inside line but has to back out early. So Maggot sweeps around the outside. Bassett into second. There's a lot going on back in the field. So we've got Charlie out. We've got a safety car. Immediately. Should have punted on the softs. Charlie is buried at turn 1. So Maggot with an incredible move. They were 3 wide. He's the king of the late breakers and makes it through. Rishi in second place. He has to brake because he's on the inside line. He had to brake early, which left him vulnerable. Bassett couldn't take advantage, and he is in third. Alex remains in fourth. Gunnar in fifth. Relly at sixth. So those two have made up a place. Robsu's up to seventh, and the big loser out of all of that is Kazingle down to 12th. Didn't see what happened with him. Saw an Aston Martin getting in a bit of trouble into turn 1, and I'm convinced that Charlie was 12th-ish. So maybe it was Kazingle and Charlie. Maybe Kazingle just got a bad start. Not too sure, but Charlie will start the main race from the back of the grid. And this is where you could get someone like a Rika, a Thanshu, Kalitsos, any of those guys at the back. Evans dropped a lot of places. You could see one of those people, some of those people going in the pits, picking up softs. We have got a few people that are going to try it. Kazingle's in, Evans in, Stewart's in. But Stewart decides to go straight back on the medium. So Stewart takes a new wing, Evan takes a new wing, Kazingle takes a new wing. So they all have damage, that's why they're in. They're all going out on mediums, other than Evan, which interestingly chose hards. And I wonder if that's because he doesn't have 2 sets of mediums. So Evan, I assume that he'll just want to try and get to the end and hope that there's a few more DNFs. I'm not sure why you picked the hards there. I'd be going on to the softs. And I've just got a view from Charlie of what happened from his point of view. And there is an Aston Martin nearby. It's Felix. And Kazingle and Evan look like they come together, and Evan comes back onto the track and cuts Charlie off, and it's not intentional. He's just hit the wall and come back and collected Charlie basically. So Felix and Charlie are fighting into the first corner. There's an incident ahead. Evan hits Kazingle, and then Evan rebounds off the wall, comes back in at turn 1 and just takes the front of Charlie out. So that's unfortunate for Charlie. Other people's troubles have cost him getting some places ready for the actual race. That's the beauty of qualifying high and getting off the line well. So Maggot leads, warming his tyres up. I think the safety car should come in at the end of this lap. Has to do a minimum of 1 lap at least, which is why it didn't go in straight away. Little Mikey's made up some places. Let's have a quick look at it and see who's made up places here. So Maggot up 1, we saw the good overtake into turn 2. So Rishi's down 1. And then pretty much everyone's shifted up 1, but Felix is up 6, that's big gains from him. Mikey's up 4, Wardy's up 4, Kalitsis up 4, Athanshu up 5, Rika up 3, and then the 3 with damage at the back. Obviously down a fair bit, because they've had to pit. And definitely no one came in for softs. I'm a little bit surprised about that. With a couple of laps behind the safety car, you'd think that the soft tyres could last 7 laps. No one else is in agreement. I don't really know what the tyre life is like around there. I was hoping these guys might give me a bit of a clue, but no one tried it. Just for those of you watching the stream that care about the football, Liverpool are 1-0 up at half-time against Wolves. Forest Green are beating Birmingham, and West Brom are beating Chesterfield. Everything else is a draw so far. Right, let's jump back on board with Maggot, who will control the pack, wait for the safety car to go in. He's not going to be able to use the surprise of the last corner because the safety car's still out currently, so he's now going to back the pack up. He's not going to want to go too early because they'll get the drag, but he has gone, and I think Rishi, not been caught napping, but has dropped 5 tenths back, and he's got Bassett all over him. Let's jump on board with Bassett and see if he can make a move. Not too much happening on behind him, and the front three will remain in the same positions. We've got Nicky Lauda, who's just made it round, and you can see there's a spin from Robsu. I don't know if there was contact there, but Nicky Lauda's through. Felix is having a little scrap with Mikey here, as Felix just takes the inside line through the second part of the chicane and remains in front. And there's a bit of a train happening behind Felix. TGL Stewart gets past Athanshu, and Felix looks like he's bought himself a bit of breathing room now, as they already dropped a second back. Rika and Athanshu are fighting, and Rika has made his way through. I think Athanshu overtook him originally. I know he got overtaken by the Alpine, but look at the Alpine in front. Stewart's on the charge. He's side by side with someone through the chicane. This is dangerous. And they've done really well to stay out of each other's way. Kalitsos keeps out the side of Stewart. Stewart makes it stick. Wardy is in 11th. And I think there might be some people running some wet weather setups, which is why they're a little bit slower than others. So we'll see how that changes in the races. It looks like Maggot and Rishi trade fastest laps. And we've got Rika, who's the next car closest on track, as Nicky Lauda gets past Relia, I believe. And Rika is all over the back of Kalitsos. He decides not to make the move yet. And he's just dropped back. We've got Stewart on the charge against Wardy. Not the place to make the move, so he's being patient. He could try something down into this corner, but again, he's patient. He sticks behind. As I think we've had an accident back there. You can see, is that Rika with no wing at the back? Didn't see who he caught, but definitely an incident back there. So Stewart is really putting some pressure on Wardy, but Wardy got plenty of experience. He's not going to get bullied. So Stewart's going to have to calculate his move and decide where he wants to do it. And he gets a good exit out of there. He could see the two different lines from the drivers, but Wardy really he's got the momentum. He's well on his way down the road, and he's now on the back of man like Donkey, who might just be able to drag him. But Wardy makes a bit of a mistake. He runs wide, and has Stewart now got the momentum to get past him? I think he will have, but I think Wardy's just got the straight line speed. You can see he's just blasted out in front of him. I wonder if they're using ERS. I wonder if that's what it is, as Robsu and Rika are both in the pit, I'm assuming, to get some damage sorted. I think Wardy's just got the straight line speed, so it makes you wonder if Stewart's gone with a wet setup. And I think Wardy has gone with a dry setup. I think I've seen that in the chat. But not too much else going on really to talk about. Guna's within 3 tenths of Alex. Alex has managed to maintain his position from quali, which he'll be happy about. Just needs a solid race, Alex. I think if he can get a win behind him, that'll, or at least a podium, I think that will just give him so much more confidence to carry on. As you can see, he's run wide there. Guna really keeps off the curbs in that chicane. I think if he wants to take it a little bit quicker, he's going to have to cut the first one. But Alex gets away with. He might have had a warning. We won't get to see any warning, but he's not had a penalty, that's for sure. So Bassett's starting to close in on these front two. He's 3 tenths back from Rishi. It's been a little bit quiet up front. These three have sort of controlled it. Alex has been trying to keep tabs with them. Robsu does pick up a 3-second time penalty, and Kazingle makes his way past Kalitsos, and he's going to be joining Stewart any minute. So yeah, these three are really sort of controlling the race. Alex has now just found a bit of extra pace, and he's joined the back of them, so the pack's just caught up that little bit. So a really close sprint race. Just not tons of action to talk about. And let's just go and see if Stewart's still all over the back of Wardy. I mean, through these corner sections. Oh, and Stewart just gets a bit sideways. How's he held that? That's a great catch. I've no idea how he kept that on track. He's done very well there. And you can just see through the corners, Stewart has so much more confidence, and he's side by side, but I think Wardy is going to get the inside line. He sort of got pushed to the grass there. And did they touch? It's now going to have put Kazingle on the back of Stewart, so if Kazingle can get a good run out of here, he should be able to get Stewart. He's side by side. Stewart's not got any ARS. But Stewart's got the straight line speed on Kazingle, so I wonder if Kazingle's got a wet setup on. I don't know who's running what's there, but Kazingle just hits the curb and it's unsettled him, and he's come back on the track. And that has got to be a safety car, I'd think. I don't know who he's hit. I think it might be Calypsos, but let's just get back to the front of the field. Rishi's closing in on Maggot. That was unfortunate for Kazingle. Just hit that sausage curb and it unsettled him. It's not brought out a safety car, which is really interesting, because that looks just as bad, if not worse, than Charlie's incident. Robsu puts in the fastest lap of the race. Mikey gets a 3-second penalty. Has Robsu put the soft tyres on? Yeah, Robsu and Rika have, so not surprised. And those two at the back could really have done with that safety car. That would have bunched them right back up. They would have been on soft tyres and probably quite a bit quicker. But as it stands, still pretty evenly split at the front. We've got 3 tenths back to Rishi from Maggot. Bassett 6 tenths behind them, and Alex 4 tenths behind Bassett. Guna's 4 tenths behind. Nicky Lauder's the first part where there starts to become a bit of a gap of a second. Relic's 2 seconds back from Nicky Lauder, and then we've got Felix 6 tenths back. Mikey 7 tenths back, and then Man Like Donkey in 10th, 2 seconds back from that. So got a few packs forming. Not a lot of overtaking happening. So this is looking good for Maggot. I wonder if Rishi, he's a very clever driver. I wonder if he'll be stocking up some of his ERS, ready to launch an attack in the next couple of laps. And who knows, Bassett might be doing the same thing. So Rishi in an awkward position really. He's the one that has to attack and defend all at the same time. Bassett can just worry about attacking. Maggot just worries about defending. And they've all got plenty of ERS by the look of it. None of them are flashing. So they'll be getting ready to do battle probably on the last lap of the sprint. So they come round the line now. We get Maggot coming round, then Rishi, then Bassett, and DRS is open. And Bassett is all over the back of Rishi, and he's now going to make a move. So they're side by side coming down into the first corner. Maggot is flashing, so that's going to be interesting for the two behind. And Rishi gets squeezed, but gets away with it. Had to run over those yellow sausage curbs, which is really dangerous, but he's kept the car. And he's going to try and come back at Bassett. Will he do it into this corner? He's not quite close enough. So this could be good for Maggot, because if they fight, it will just give him a bit of breathing room. But as of yet, it hasn't happened. We know Maggot's got his ERS light flashing. And if Bassett's got the pace down this straight, he might just nick it on this last lap. As they're coming up towards the chicane now, Bassett has a little look. I think it was just a bit of a dummy just to try and unsettle Maggot. And all three of them have got really good exits. And Rishi looks like he's pushing hard now as Robsu retires from the race. Similar place to where Kazingle went off. But here they come to start their final lap of the sprint race, and Bassett is closing in on Maggot. Probably got his ERS down. He'll have the DRS open, and he has, for now, taken the lead of the race. He's a car length in front. Maggot's got no ERS to respond, and Bassett is probably going to drive off now, as Rishi is now putting the pressure on, and he tries to have a look down the inside, but again, a bit of a fake move from Rishi. just trying to unsettle Maggot. And they're on their way up the hill. Rishi gets ever closer to the exhaust pipes of Maggot. Maggot just needs to keep his cool here. Second is absolutely fine. He'll start in second for the main race. Bassett's had a master plan that's paid off on this last lap. And there's not many overtaking spots here. So keep it clean and you'll pick up the haul of points. As we come round into the chicane, as Bassett's ERS is now flashing. Don't think there's a straight long enough to really put under pressure, but Rishi is really looking at the back of Maggot now. And this is really your last opportunity before the sprint race ends, as Rishi wants to sort of show him the inside, but Maggot doesn't fall for it. And Rishi will get his foot down. It's not going to be enough. But Bassett's going to come over the line to win the sprint, followed by Maggot and Rishi. Great racing from those three. Alex and Guna and Nicky Lauda closed that gap quite quickly towards the end. Reliant in 7th, Felix well done in 8th. Man Like Donkey will get 9th because of penalties. Wardy sneaks into the top 10 and TGL Stewart comes back in 11th. Afansu makes his way up to 12th. Well, he's positioned himself quite well for the race. Lil Mikey is in 13th. Kalitsos 14th. Evan is 15th and will come home with no wing by the look of it. Rika is just that bit further back in 16th. And then we've got Robsu, Kazinkel and Charlie, who are all DNF'd, but they will be back for the main race. But they will be starting at the back. And from what you've seen here, it's not a track for overtaking. So there's going to be a little bit of strategy in this race. It's going to be about who can keep it clean, who can keep hold of the car, and the front three just look very, very equal for pace, which is going to make it very, very interesting. But I think I was right. Points are 8 down to 1. Felix picks up a point. So our order was Bassett, Maggot, Rishi, Alex, Guna, Nicky Lauda, Reliant, Felix, Man Like Donkey and Wardy making up the top 10. TGL Stewart, Afansu in 12th, Lil Mikey, Kalitsos, Evan, Rika, and then the three that DNF, Robzu, Kasingo, Charlie, will be looking to make amends for the main race. So I'm hearing there's going to be rain. I don't know if there's rain for the start. There is rain for the start and it is absolutely pissing it down. So, full wets. Anything else and you're mental. I'm expecting it to dry up before the end of the race. So this is where we'll see who's been running those wet setups, and it will start to show who set up the dry setups. So they're going to go around for their formation lap. So we'll do a quick rundown of the standings whilst we go around on this formation lap. Division 3. So just give me a minute. So, the stand-ins. This has changed quite dramatically. We've got Niki Lauda, who's currently leading the championship on 51 points. We've got Wardy in second on 40 points. Rika in third after his victory last week in Australia on 37 points. Maga also on 37 points. Bassett, who has come second in both his races so far, will be looking to go on better. He's on 36 points. Rishi has got 35 points. Stewart has got 25 points. Guna's got 20 points as a reserve. And Rishi's a reserve as well, by the way. Kazingal in 9th on 18 points. And then Evan is 10th on 16 points after his podium last week. A couple of drivers that haven't got off the mark yet. We haven't got any in this race, actually. I don't think Luca, Marshmallow or Bruno are here. They aren't. So there won't be anyone else getting off the mark for the season. Red Bull lead constructors from Ferrari, Mercedes, AlphaTauri, Haas, Alpine, Aston Martin, and then the Williams, Alfa Romeo and McLaren. So, going to get a shoddy camera angle for the start again. So let's do what I did last time. Apart from this time, it's going to be Bassett we're on board with. And we're going to look back at Maga on the inside, Rishi just behind him. And I've got to remember not to flick the camera pretty much until we get to turn 1, because it just doesn't give me a good angle. Yeah, let's watch the lights. Up to 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And they're out. And away we go. And Bassett looks like he's got off to a flying start. Maggott can't keep up with that. Rishi can't keep up with that. Let's get on with Rishi, because he looks like he might be getting swallowed. And both of the Williams have been pushed off there by the Red Bull and Niki Lauda, I think. So Rishi's clean through. Let's just drop down the field a little bit and look backwards. Oh, and there's some glitching going on there. Robsu again looks like he's been caught up in something. Let's just head back down the field a little bit. It's a bit messy back here. 5-second penalty for Robsu, colliding with Relia and gaining 2 places. Well, it's just a bit messy, as we've got Felix up into 4th. Now he's in 3rd. Him and Alex must be battling. This is crazy. Felix is on one. And I think he has a wet setup on, which is why he's flying through the field. Oh, I'd love to see this guy on a podium. We'll see if he can keep it up. But the top 2 look like they're running away. So Bassett has got a second gap to Maggott, who's then got 2.5 seconds to Felix. Felix, we know, has got a wet setup on. He's been telling us about it. Niki Lauda looks like he's struggling and looks like he's holding up the field behind him. It's just getting a bit messy, and Rishi's back there. Looks like it's getting a little bit messy in this midfield. So let's watch as they come down the hill. I think they've just all sort of lined up and sorted themselves out a little bit. There's not so much side-by-side action, which generally means there's less incidents. So Rishi's going to be disappointed with the start. Let's see where people have gone. So Felix up 5 places after his original quali session. I'm sure he was down in 12th. So between that quali, the sprint race, and the start of this race, it's made up a big chunk of time. But Niki Lauda has now got past him out of the first section. Alex is down a place. Rishi's down 3. Must have struggled off the line. I think we did see him get a bit bogged down. Robsu is up 10 places. How did he get all the way up there? Brilliant from Robsu. Athanius is up 4 places. Rika up 7. He's had a good start. Man Like Donkey down 1. Reliot, we saw, I think, got caught up in the 2 Williams that got run wide. Guna's down towards the back of the field. We've got Little Mikey up 1. Kazingal up 5. Who's just... Has he been tapped? I'm not sure, but it got a bit messy for him. He's managed to keep hold of the car. We've got Evan, Wardy at the back, TJ or Stewart at the back. So it must have been Stewart that we saw. We saw an Alpine going off, and he's just giving Wardy a bit of a nudge up the hill. Not sure what's going on. There's a... Stewart couldn't get past Wardy in the sprint. And I assume that there's just a bit of afters going on here, and Stewart wants to get it done so he can get down the road, as Wardy is just blocking off any sort of move that TGL can make. So will Stewart get him down into this last section? It just looks like Wardy's just got so much more straight line speed. You could just see Stewart just drops off. No idea, but let's get back to the front. We've got Bassett 2-second lead now as Reliot makes his way past Man Like Donkey. We've got Bassett 2-second lead to Maggot in second, who's got a 1.5-second lead to Nicky Lauder, who took that place off Felix. He's not been able to keep up since. Alex is trying to push up to the back of Felix, but he's got Rishi for company, who's right behind him. Looks a bit cautious, and you can see Alex just going a bit sideways. He looks like he might be struggling a little bit in the rain. As Felix now gets just over a second's gap, and Rishi's right on the tail of Alex, and Alex gets a bit sideways again, and it's caused Rishi to slam into the wall. It wasn't intentional, it was just a loss of grip, and that's ended Rishi's race. That's unfortunate, and that is a safety car. It didn't take long, 3 laps in. Unfortunate for Rishi, we were on board with it at the time. It wasn't intentional, but it's going to be frustrating. So we've got a couple of cars that have decided to pit. We've got Rika, Robsu and Stewart. So it was a scruffy first lap. Everyone seemed to really sort themselves out. And then we just saw a little bit of and it happens in the rain, you just lose traction and unfortunately ended someone else's race. It was never intentional. These things happen. Fortunately, it's Rishi that loses out on this occasion. Good opportunity to see if anything's happened in the FA Cup. I think they're out of half time. Not a lot of change. Birmingham have equalised against Forest Green. Wigan and Luton have both scored, so that's still a draw. Liverpool still beating Wolves 1-0, and West Brom are winning up against Chesterfield. Eckerzingle in the pits. Yes, Wardy's in the pits, Evans in the pits, Stewart's in the pits. Why are they all in the pits? Why is Stewart in the pits? And why is Wardy in the pits? They've only just pitted. New wing. Something else happened? Don't know. But we've got some inters going on. We have inter runners. Eckerzingle's gambled, Evans gambled, Wardy's gambled, Stewart's gambled, Rika's gambled, Robsu has not gambled. It is meant to dry up at some point in this race. The rain is still coming, but the cars will continue to dry the track out. So, worth a go if you're down the back of the field. It is worth a go. And as soon as those conditions start changing, you should get an advantage. Oh, we saw that Alex was struggling even on full wets, so they're going to have to create a bit of a dry line for those inters to help out. I can imagine the safety car might just do one more lap, because we've got a couple to catch the back of the field, although a couple of them did pit twice. Sometimes the safety car doesn't hang around for that. If you're going to keep pitting, the safety car will come in, but it looks like Stuart's got away with it. It will go round again, and he'll have one more lap to try and catch the field as Alex pits, and Athansu pits, and Reliot pits, and Man Like a Donkey. Ooh, so there's a little pack at the front that have abandoned, that have decided, you know what, we're going to gamble. But Felix, Lauda, Maga and Bassett need to hope it's wet enough for them to create some sort of gap. Everyone else has come in for inters, and I think Stuart's actually going to make up a huge chunk of places by doing it a lap earlier. He is. He's going to be up into 10th. So he's up into 10th. So good work, good strategy. It's got him. He's still behind Wardy. Wardy's in 8th, but they've got Alex in between them. So that fight will just live to see another day. But I tell you what, Kazingle, Rika, Evan, they and Wardy have all played a blinder there to go on to those inters early enough, because they have literally just done a switcheroo with everyone, and they have really taken advantage of that. So good strategy from them, as long as the inters work. But if the inters don't work, there's only 4 of the drivers on the track were wet, so not going to matter too much for them. This safety car should not wait for these back markers now. It should be in this lap, because the safety car doesn't wait just because people continue to pit, and it isn't going to wait. So these couple of groups of cars have got to hurry up, especially that Mercedes. Little Mikey's got to get a move on. He should have just enough time, because Bassett's going to have to hold the pack. So will Bassett opt to go early and go out of the final corner, or will he try and reduce the length of that pit straight? No, he goes already. Has he? Oh, it looked like he did. He has gone, I think. Yes, he has. And Maga has really struggled to keep on with him, as I think there might someone side by side with someone. But anyway, let's jump on board with Nicky Lauda. I thought he was closer than that, to be honest. But Bassett off to a great start, 6 tenths up. Nicky Lauda's 3 tenths back from Maga, and Felix is a second up on Rika already on those wet tyres. So I think the wet tyres for now are about the right choice, but it's just how long will it last. And Nicky Lauda's all over the back of Maga for the first time, and it looks like he gets very close, might even have tapped him. As we've got a bit of battling going on, TJ Stewart's managed to get past Alex a bit further down the field. We'll stay on board with this battle as it's for the lead of the race. Not lead of the race, sorry, for the leading pack anyway. And I think Alex has had a problem, because he's dropped back down to 14th. Man Like a Donkey is stranded in the pits. I've no idea why he's in there. Charlie seems to have had a problem. He's dropping down the field a little bit. So Felix has drawn out a 1.3 second gap, and it is closing. So I think it's right on the crossover, which means that these 4 out in front are going to be vulnerable, because they have to pit, which means that Rika could end up being your net leader of the race, along with Evan in 2nd, Kazingle in 3rd, and Wardy 4th, Stewart 5th, which would be huge. And guess what? We've got the Wardy and Stewart battle going back on again. So I've loved watching this one. Wardy has the straight line speed, Stewart has the corner speed, and currently I would say it's about 4-0 to Wardy at the minute. Stewart just hasn't found a way through. And Wardy, I'm hearing, has got a dry setup on, so he is going to be trying to punished. But look at this now. Rika and Felix fighting it out. So these inters didn't take long to come good. As you can see, Maggot and Nicky Lauda are fighting. So Felix, he's dropped down to 5th. Are these inter tyres going to start chewing people up now? Or is Rika just a demon in the wet? Because Felix has got a 2-second gap to Evan. Rika might just be in his element. Maybe that's what it is. But these wet runners have really got to push. Bassett's now 2 seconds ahead of Maggot, who has been fighting with Nicky Lauda. So I just wonder if that's what's caused it. But let's stick with Rika and look at the drive. He's getting out of there. And Rika's made up another place. He's into 3rd. So these inters are the right tyre, I think. They are quicker. And how long will Bassett and Maggot want to stay out on those tyres? No, Bassett does come in. Yeah, Bassett comes in. Maggot decides to stay out. I wonder how long he'll try and hang it out for. I think if you're going to stay out, you've got to stay out until... You've got to stay out until it becomes slicks, I think. But surely their tyres will be dead by then because they're just going to overheat. So Maggot now the leader of the race. Rika, I think you can call our net leader of the race, with Felix in 3rd. So the only 2 wet runners now are Maggot and Felix, and you can see how much those 2 have lost out. Bassett and Nicky Lauda now 16th, 17th. So there's been some master strokes on the strategies. The majority of these cars got it right. Felix has got a 2-second gap to Evan. It's nowhere near enough for a pit stop. So Felix is going to have to find something. He's going to have to find it quick. And so is Maggot, because Rika's loving these conditions. I think he's the fastest man on track. I think he put the fastest lap in the last lap. And he's come in here off the back of a win in Australia, and this could really push him right into that top spot and actually create some daylight between the others, as Kalitsos picks up a 3-second time penalty for cutting corners or track limits. And Rika's right on the tail of Maggot, as looks like I fancy you. I think there's been an incident, or is it Felix in? Felix in for inters. Maggot fighting away with Rika. I think Maggot seems to have the straight line speed, and Guna puts in a fastest lap from 12th position. So Inter's definitely the right call, but and you can just see Rika is all over the back. This isn't going to take long now, and he's round. So Rika, I think, is going to pick up the lead of the race. He's going to get a far better drive. And Maggot's got a 3-second gap to his teammate. He needs some help from his teammate to back that pack up behind. I don't know how long that Evan, if he is doing that, how long he'll be able to do it for, because he's got Kazingal on the back of him. And Kazingal is going to want to clear him quickly, and then he'll be able to get after Maggot, who's on wet tyres, so doesn't have to fight him. Because Maggot will have to get out of the way at some point, and then he'll be after Rika. So important times for Kazingal. Needs to try and get this overtake done as quickly as possible. And there is a yellow car, and it's a safety car. So that will stop the racing for now. Man Like Donkey's out, and I think you can see his Red Bull just at the end of Sector 1. As he put it in a wall, not going to be able to see. We're going to have to wait for the leaders to go around, and I think the car will be gone by then. And we're getting some cars coming in. There was a bit of a fake move there by the Ferrari, I think. Rika's come in. Why is Rika in? Rika's going on mediums. That's way too early, surely. Surely that's too early. The rain's still coming down. That is madness from the front of the race. That's a mad... The rain's still falling. Guna's done it as well. He's gone on the hards, which is even more crazy. Trying to get hards warmed up in this weather. Good luck to you. They're going to try and go to the end of the race, but... Well, they're braver than I am. Braver than I am. So, there's been another shift around in positions here. And I now fancy Kazingal for this race. Can't rule Evan out. He had a really good result in Australia, but just in the natural pace of Kazingal, it's quick. And Reliot, to be fair, is quick himself. So he might just come along for the ride. Little Mikey up to 5th. That's a great result for him. And the TGL and Wardy battle seems to have split up a little bit. Alex and Wardy are together there in 6th and 7th. Robsu 8th, Charlie in 9th after a, well, I'd say not even a quarter of a lap that he managed to race before the main event. And then Felix, you can see, lost out by staying out on those wet tyres, is down in 14th. Oh, and Evan comes in. So maybe the medium tyres was the right choice, because Ingles followed him. So, will they jump Rika then, is the question. So maybe it is the right time. I feel like the hard tyre is surely going to be way too hard to heat up. And I think... Has Rika gone by? Yeah, he's already gone, is he? Yeah, his miles gone. And Guna. So, Rika then. Looks a bit sketchy. But you think the safety car will probably go one more lap. And I think it will remain sketchy for a couple of laps. And then we'll probably be in the right window. So, fair enough. And if... Whoa, Single's getting a bit sideways. So if you think about it then, I mean, those mediums have got to go 20 laps. That's a heck of a lot of laps, but if there's another one behind the safety car, that'll help. So let's just look at this again. So the Inters, if they're going to have to come in, that puts Rika in net P1, which means good gamble from him. Guna goes into net 2nd, which is huge for him. Evan 3rd, Kazingal 4th, and then as the order on your screen are the slick runners. And to be honest, like, I mean, there are some wet patches on the track, but I think those slick tyres have made a great call, because the rain has gone, and I mean, I'm not driving it, but the surface looks dry as a bone already. Oh, really, it's been done for speeding in the pit lane. Way to ruin your race. You go into the back of the grid and you're going to do it with a 5-second penalty. Wardy stays out, which is really, like, it's only taken half a lap and it looks bone dry out here already. And Charlie's gone to softs. I can't keep up with this. I have no idea what's going on. Wardy stayed out on inters. Everyone else is in for slicks. People have gone for medium hards. Charlie comes out on the softs. What are you doing, Charlie? What are you doing? He's going racing is what he's doing. He wants to make up those places. He wants another safety car. He wants to come in. He wants to put the mediums on for the end of the race. Or maybe he'll go soft. Who knows? But he wants to overtake people. I like it. Well, we're in for a crazy end to the race. We've got some people thinking that mediums will get it to the end. We've got some people saying, nah, they won't. We're going hards, mate. And then we've got Charlie, who's just an absolute lunatic, going onto the softs. And then there's Wardy, chilling on his inter tyres in the bone dry. And the safety car's coming in. So good luck with those tyres, buddy. But you, sir, will lead the pack whilst the safety car goes in. And I have no idea where he's going to go. Might want to make the pit straight as short as possible. Whatever happens, Rika will be ready for it. Guna in 3rd. Evan 4th. Kazingal 5th. And Wardy is getting on with it early. Doesn't care about the pit straight, he just wants to go. And he does not peel off into the pit, so he is going to overheat those inters. So, good start from him. Second gap already. We've got Guna, who's 5 tenths back from Rika. Evan, 3 tenths back from Guna. Kazingle, who is 3 tenths back. No position changes. Let's go and see if Charlie can do anything about these hard and medium runners ahead of him. As Nicky Lauda gets through on Maggot. And Charlie diving at the inside. Lovely move. Look at all the grip he's got. Robsu's up on Alex a bit further up the road. But I'm going to stick with Charlie because this is going to be fun. Look at the grip he's got. He's got little Mikey. Next is TGL Stewart, Nicky Lauda and Maggot. Oh no. Something going on with the timing screen, but look at Charlie's on the move. He is side by side with Mikey. I think he's going to get priority into this corner. Well, he's going to let Mikey through. Doesn't want to cause anything. We've got a safety car again. And Kalitsos is out. Just as it was spicing up, Charlie was making his way through on those soft tyres. Probably got the best out of them already. Could come in. Chuck another set on maybe. Wardy does take the opportunity to pit now. I think it's sensible. Anyone else? Don't think they should. They've only been out there on a couple of laps on them. And only half a lap of racing. You can see Wardy pulling into his pit box. What's Wardy putting on the mediums? And we'll go to the back of the pack. Well, run out of things to talk about in these little breaks. So let's check the football again. Birmingham have done the switcheroo. They're 2-1 up against Forest Green. Swansea and Bristol are both scored. That's 1-1. Wigan Luton still 1-1. Liverpool 1-0 up still. And West Brom are now 3-0 up against Chesterfield. Couldn't have done that the other week when I needed them for my little acca, could they? Well, this safety car will help the medium runners, that's for sure. I think they will start to get into a window where they can get them all the way. Nicky Lauda's now in the pits, come in for hards. We'll try to go to the end. Been a scruffy old race. Can't remember exactly how many safety cars we've had. It feels like 4, maybe 3. And only 3 cars out of the race. We've only got Nicky Lauda to catch the pack, so you'd hope we'll get the race going again. But we've got some master tacticians out here who have been unwinding what to do with these safety cars, and Rika's come out on top so far in first place. He's king of long stints, so he's going to know how to get those mediums to the end, I promise you that. Guna in second. Has won nearly every division in DTR. In second place. Evan in third, coming off the back of a 5th place in Australia. Kazingl in 4th after a disappoint in Australia. He's got plenty of pace. He's got title credentials. We've got Bassett in 5th, who's also a title contender behind him, but he's on hard tyres. Robsu and Alex then 6th and 7th on medium tyres. Felix then leads a pack of hard runners, and just Charlie on the softs back in 12th. So let's see, Rika's gone already. Guna, he's not been caught napping, but Rika has made a 7/10 lead. I assume that Rika will be burning a lot of ERS. He normally does. And Guna's now starting to pull that lead back in. So I wonder if Guna's got the better setup here. As Evan is 6/10 back. Kazingel's under pressure from Bassett. He's on the hard tyres, and Bassett has got pace round Imola. That is for sure, as he gives Kazingl a bit of a tap. And is that going to let Robsu through? Robsu has a look. He now switches back, and he's going to have the outside. Kazingl just keeps it on the inside. He's going to have to give Robsu some room on the outside, and that will now, you can just see Kazingl gets a little bit out of shape, and that lets Robsu complete the move. He's now got Alex, and Alex wants to have a look down the hill. It would be monumentous to go through there, and he's tapped Kazingl and sent his car into a spin. Alex is going to have to wait. Got to be careful. That was a scary moment. Don't beach the car. And that is what I mean about Alex's season so far. He's been so good in qualifying and just makes silly mistakes in the race, which costs him so many points. I do honestly believe that he could be up in first if he cut those mistakes, as Guna gets very wide out of that final corner. And that's going to put Evan on the back of him. Evan puts the fastest lap of the race in on those mediums, attacking Guna. Robsu and Bassett are having a bit of a fight. Robsu's done really well. And Evan is on the inside of Guna. Guna hangs it around the outside, which becomes the inside, and manages to get back in front and hold Evan off for another lap. Robsu really picked up some pace here. Like, Bassett has been flying, but Robsu took advantage of Bassett and Kazingl fighting, and look at him, he's all over the back of Evan now. Where has this come from Robsu? Maybe the dry setup is just maybe that's what he's got, and that's why he just looks like he's on a different planet at the minute. Look at that exit. It's just not enough. Evan maybe giving his ERS a little bit of a blast. You can see there's a queue of cars behind them. And Robsu now is going to be on his way down the hill and looking for a way past Evan. Does he wait till the pit straight? I think it's sensible. Bassett is looking at the back of Robsu as well, and Kazingl is on the back of Bassett. So I can't tell you who will get past here, but let's jump on board and look forward from Bassett's car. And there's no one in a position really to challenge. Feels like just a bit of a train as Alex puts in the fastest lap of the race. He's going to be disappointed that he's put himself at the back of the field. So just to recap, Rika out in front, 2.5. Again, another strategy masterstroke from him. Guna with good strategy as well, gets himself into second. He's about a 2.5 down, but has a half a second buffer to Evan, who is under pressure from Robsu, who is then under pressure from Bassett, and Kazingl just seems to be dropping back ever so slightly, and I think there's some flashes of yellow flags there, and I don't know what it was for, but no one seems to have lost any places. So as Bassett throws his car into the chicane, Robsu gets really good exit, and he's side by side with Evan on his way down the hill, but I think Evan's straight line speed, yes it has, just kept his nose in front. So Evan's having a really good race today, and he's defending himself hard. I don't think I've done him any justice. He's earned this podium place, and he's fighting so hard to keep it. As Robsu's now pushing again to try and get round. He's just not close enough. And in fact, Evan is getting ever closer to Guna as Wardy makes his way past Maggot. Maggot, after leading the race and looking very strong, just got undone by other people's strategy. As you can see that Evan just misses the apex, and it gives Robsu a bit of confidence to try and close that gap. Little Mikey gets past Charlie. I think, in fact, I don't think he's got past him. I think Charlie's fighting him. Let's go and have a look at it. And they're fighting each other on the way up the hill, and Charlie gets it done. He gets the inside line. Little Mikey looks like he's trying to fight his way back on the inside. That's a great move from Mikey, who's still trying to fight. Probably not wise to go there. But Charlie gets through. Charlie's got no ERS left, so he's relying just on, and you can see Stuart has been overtaken by, hasn't been overtaken by, is having a look at Mikey. And here he comes. Going down the hill, and Mikey's able to fend him off a little bit longer. Now let's test the theory on Stuart having a wet setup, because he's struggled with straight line speed against Wardy, and he's struggling again against Mikey. And actually, look who it is. And Wardy is going to be side by side to turn one, but bails out. He was a little bit too far back. And we've got Robsu, who again is closing in on Evan, but just can't get close enough. And Guna has started to reel Rika back in. I wonder if Rika made a bit of a mistake, but look at these top 7 drivers, all of them within a second of the car in front. So we've got some good quality drivers out here and a good little race going on. We've got some yellow flags again, and that is not Kazingle. Not Kazingle. It is Kazingle. He's on the grass. Not his best race today. Reliot is 2.5 seconds back off that front 6 pack, which I think Kazingle was in, but now finds himself towards the back. And Kazingle, is he off again? Yeah, I assume his tyres are red hot. But anyway, Robsu. Oh, is that a battle for the lead? Was Guna having a look at Rika there? I think he was. And Rika's got his ERS light flashing like mad. And Guna, those hard tyres he's got working. I wonder if the mediums are just starting to struggle. Who have we got on each? So Guna, the only one at the front really with hard tyres on. Three cars around him are all on mediums. But he's definitely up there with the pace. Rika's ERS lights stopped flashing now, so he's trying to bank some of that up for when he needs it. And it's not going to be long before he needs it. And this top 5 are ever closer. They're all now within half a second of each other. You can almost chuck a blanket over them. Robsu 2 tenths back from Evan, and he normally is. He seems to get really good exit out of the chicane, but just cannot get it done. And Rika is flashing and could be in trouble here. Guna's flying up on him, and he's going to sweep past to take the lead of the race quite easily here. So Guna up into first, Mr. Reserve, Mr. Consistent, 12 lap old hard tyres. Looks like he's chosen the right tyres for the race. So is he the master of the strategy? We know Rika likes to run his ERS down to the ground, and I just don't think it's helped him. Evan trying to just keep up with Rika, but gap is slowly opening, but you can see he's just reeled him in already. So there you go. I think you can just see, if you watch the timings, I think there's certain sectors where some cars are just better than others, and that's because we've got a mix of wet and dry setups in this front group. And you can just see, like, so I assume that Robsu is on a wet setup because through the corners, he seems to be blitzing Evan. And then Evan gets to a straight part of the track and goes, nah, I'm just going to open up a gap on you. And you can try and close it up and be in the corners. But it's just impossible to overtake. If Robsu's going to do it, he's got to burn all his ERS. But now Evan's going to have a look at Rika. Ooh, backs out. And Robsu now gets a run at Evan, who's made a mistake. And Robsu's been collected by him. And that's let Bassett and Felix through. So Bassett up into third. Oh, so unfortunate for Robsu. I wonder if he's picked up damage. Can we have a look at his car? He's got no end plate on that right or left hand side as Robsu will be looking at it. Oh, that's disappointing for Robsu. He's having such a great race. Guna is starting to control this race. He's got a second on Rika already. He just seems to be struggling for pace, and it's not going to be long before Bassett is right on the tail. And let's see if Felix can do the same thing on those hard tyres. And I'm not going to trust those purple sectors because they've been flashing up all race. I have no idea if he's actually putting quicker sectors in or not. I can see that Charlie's had to come in and put in some mediums, so that soft plan didn't work really. It might just have helped him get some extra tyre life to the end though. And maybe he will come back into it if there's a safety car a bit later. Because he'll have fresher medium tyres. So Bassett not quite close enough right now. Reliot has got past Robsu. So Guna and Reliot brothers picking up big points. So far today, can Reliot push it and try and catch Felix? Felix is actually catching the back of Bassett. And I think that's because he is being held up by Rika. And Guna all the while is just pushing further and further clear of the pack. And Charlie sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:19.2 on those medium tyres. So we've got a pack of three fighting. Guna driving off into the lead. He will want to extend that lead in case Bassett and Felix find a way through. Bassett is within 3/10. And again, I think Bassett might be running a wet setup based on the fact that he seems to close in on corners. And Rika just seems to be able to keep it together on the straights even without his ERS. You can see that Bassett has a decent charge on him. I'm not going to say the amount so it doesn't give any drivers a helping hand, but Alex is in a bit of a mess again by the look of it. He's up to 12th and Rika's on his way down the pit straight, and Bassett now, I think he's clipped his ERS and here he goes. He's going to get the job done quite quickly, and let's see from Felix's angle. He's picking up some time on Rika. So he now just wants to position his car nicely, keep it smooth for a couple of laps, pick him off, and he could be on for a podium here. Reliot's 4 seconds back, so he shouldn't be too worried about that. He's 6 laps to go. Felix has just got to be calculated now. Be calculated, make the right choice at the right time, and make the overtake in a sensible spot. And that podium's yours. He's run a bit wide. Do not get a penalty. He has got a penalty actually. Let's go and check the penalties. He's got a 5-second penalty. If he loses places because he's done something silly, like getting a pit lane speed in, I'm going to be furious with him. He's my teammate from last year. And I would like to see him on the podium. He's got plenty of passion for this F1 game. And Bassett is starting to claw Guna in. So come on, Felix. Have you got enough as Bassett takes the fastest lap of the race? So Felix is through. So Felix, you've got 5 laps. Second a lap is what you need, my friend. A second a lap is what you need. So we'll keep an eye on him. We'll see if he can open up that gap. It's nearly at a second already. And I tell you what, I think he's even reeling in these front two quite quickly. So I think those mediums on Rika will be starting to fall off a little bit. But I mean, Rika is just hanging in there. So keep it neat and tidy, Felix, and I think you're in with a good chance. Just keep it on track. You're nearly 5 seconds clear of Elliott. So let's see what the Frenchman can do. Any other close battles on track? Evans dropped down to 7th place after that little mistake. He collected Robsu on the way through, so still in the points. Will be disappointed. Stewart's putting some pressure on him. His ERS light is flashing. Guna's picked up a 3-second time penalty. That's massive. That's going to put Guna back in the hunt. Sorry, Bassett right in the right place to take the win. As these cars here are bunched up. Little Mikey wants to have a look. Let's look on Little Mikey's angle. He's making a move on Stewart, who we know is just struggling for straight line speed. So Mikey's through. Will he take a move on Evan? He won't. He's just going to settle for the one place. He gets it, but Evan's just a bit slow out of turn 2. And it slows Mikey down, but Mikey is now side by side. There's a bit of bashing going on. Let's watch it from the Q. There's a Q2 side by side behind him. And Robsu's gone round. What a nightmare of a race. Is it Robsu or is it Stewart? It's Stewart. Robsu's in front of him. So a nightmare race for Stewart as well. So, and there's another car off. Is that Alex? It is Alex. He's having a nightmare. So this is all changing. Just every lap that goes by, and we've got 2 side by side. Nicky Lauder and Maggot. Or is it Evan? I think it's Evan. So Evan's starting to struggle. I think these guys must be on medium tyres and they're just dropping off a cliff. And Lauder's going to need to make up as much as he can, really, because he's got the championship lead and doesn't want to be dropping too many points, because people like Guna, Bassett, Rika's leading the championship. Elliott's up there in the championship. So he doesn't want to lose ground on these guys. Let's see what he can do down the pit straight. Has he got enough straight line speed? Mikey's not gaining on, or is gaining on Robsu, but let's just jump on board in case. No, he doesn't make it, so let's look at Lauder. Evan has struggled through this section of the track today, and Nicky Lauder has not. And you can just see the difference, but he won't want to put his nose in there. As he gets a bit sideways, but he holds onto the car. Felix is 2 seconds up on Rika now. 3 seconds to go if he's going to keep that podium. Only 3 laps to go though. So the second lap is just about happening. But needs to carry on. Needs to continue to be mistake free. As Nicky Lauder can see Evan directly in front of him. He's got little Mikey in front of him and Robsu just in front of him. So there are some positions to be made, but people have got to be sensible about it. Make the right decisions at the right times. The pit straight is probably the one where you say, I'll have a go there, because it's the cleanest way to get it done. But Mikey is all over the back of Robsu, who has made a bit of a mistake. He's got onto the gravel. He's kept it in a straight line, but Mikey is going to push through, and he looks like he's going to take 6th spot. Robsu can't do anything to fight back. He tucks in behind, but it's not going to be enough to get that place back. As Felix is only 2.5 seconds ahead of Rika, that's not going to be enough. And Relliot is starting to reel them in, but Felix is comfortably ahead of Relliot for that 5-second penalty. Come on, Felix. Get your foot down, mate. Maggot in 10th place, 5/10 back off Evan, his teammate. I wonder if any team orders will come about here, because the battle for the title is on. Is it a Verstappen-Perez moment? Is he going to ask his teammate to move over for him? Little Mikey picks up a massive second time penalty. That brings Robsu, Nicky Lauder and Evan back into it. And potentially Maggot. So that's huge. That could drop Mikey out of the points if he's not careful. Felix is up to 3 seconds. Still not enough. Needs a lot more. Just not going to be able to hold on to this. Not going to be able to hold on to this podium, unfortunately. And I'm going to give him some stick afterwards if that was a pit lane, as Nicky Lauda is side by side with Robsu. And Nicky Lauda gets it done, looked pretty clean. So actually, looking at it, with Reliot's 5-second penalty, as Maggott and Athansu have a little bit of a to do, and Maggott has gone round. So with Reliot and Mikey's penalties, Nicky Lauda's got a chance. 5th place is about a second away from him. And he's got 1 lap to open. He's been hit! Robsu's hit him! Robsu's had a nightmare. And it's let Athansu through. Evans managed to find his way through. Maggott's just made up the places he's just lost. So he's up into 10th. And what's happening here? There's yellow flags, but there's no... It won't be a safety car. It's too late in the race. So, some utter carnage. Race has been a bit messy, to say the least. We've had a lot of safety cars. Felix is 3 seconds, so needs another 2 seconds. Not going to do that in the last lap, I don't think. But Guna, let's jump on board with him to complete the final lap. And I think this will be his first win of Division 3, that's for sure. And has got the tactics absolutely right today, and will thoroughly deserve this win if he keeps it on track. Don't curse him. It's just a shame he's an Arsenal fan. Ooh, runs a bit wide, but he's going to get it on track, but he's going to get it taken off him by this man, Bassett, who didn't get the strategy right at the start, but recovered it under the next couple of safety cars. So Bassett's going to pick up the win, but Guna's going to take the checkered flag. So great race from Guna. Bassett will take the win though, so congratulations on the points. Felix is going to come over in 3rd. I don't think he's going to keep it though, because Rika, because of the time penalty, Rika takes the podium. Felix will be gutted about that. Reliot comes home in 5th. Drops to Nicky Lauda because of the penalties. Little Mikey picks up 7th. Athansu picks up 8th. Evan 9th. Maggott 10th. Robsu 11th. Stewart, but with penalties. And Stewart's coming over the line with no wing. Alex, bit of a messy race for quite a lot of these drivers, to be fair, as Wardy will finish the race in 15th. And Kazingal really struggling in 16th. And that is your race at Imola. And Kazingal, well, sums up his race really. Taps the wall. But Bassett, I think, has shown his class a bit today. Rika's just shown that he can really pull out some stops on those strategies. Picks up his podium. He's back-to-back podiums now. Guna really got it right today. Just shame he picked up the penalties. He would have had the win, but we'll have to settle for 2nd. Bassett in 1st, and then Robsu in 3rd, and then the Frenchman Felix in 4th. Disappointing you didn't get the podium, Felix, but a much improved race, and I'm sure you'll be happy once you get over the fact that the podium's not there for you. It's been an interesting race. It's not been the cleanest of races. But that sums up your race. Bassett 1st, Guna 2nd, Rika in 3rd, Nicky Lauda ends 4th, Felix the Pirate in 5th. And that must be because of penalties. I thought he finished in 4th. Maybe the graphic got it wrong. Reliot 6th, Maggott 7th. No, I'm reading out the sprint results, aren't I? That's why. That was qualifying. Here we go. That's better. Bassett 1st, Guna 1st, Rika 3rd, Felix in 4th, Nicky Lauda 5th, Reliot 6th, Mikey 7th, Athansu in 8th, Evan in 9th, Robsu in 10th to complete the points. Maggot in 11th, Charlie 12th, TJ Stewart 13th, Alex 14th, Wardy 15th, Kazingle 16th, Kalitsos, Man Like Donkey, Rishi, all non-finishers. And that is the conclusion of the Imola sprint race. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you back here for Division 3 same time next week. But for now, well done to your winner Bassett, great race from Guna, well done Rika, and top drive from Felix as well. And we'll see you back here next week for more action and round 6. See you then.